Alright, welcome back to Gamer Know-How. Today we're going to be covering a follow-up video to the SAG-AFTRA saga. The SAG-AFTRA work stoppage and video game negotiations are still underway and they're still fighting. There's a work stoppage still in the video gaming industry. A lot of game projects are being affected by this. I know COD 6 may be pushed back to a later date, so that's unfortunate, but honestly I stand with the workers on this one because I've already made my opinion very strong. The gaming companies are raising prices, trying to cut labor, they're raising prices of subscription services, and they're lessening both the quality and quantity of games. So we're losing, the customers are losing in 4 ways, to getting screwed over in 4 different ways, and the workers are also getting screwed. So the companies are doing 5 things that screw regular people, not themselves. Well, they make out like bandits. So I mean, we should be mad about this and we should be fighting for the workers in this scenario because honestly they're being screwed over just like us. So the fighting remains tense. While negotiations with Screen Actors Guild of America and Federation of Television, SAG-AFTRA, have made gains in bargaining over wages and job safety in their video game contract and interactive media agreement, leaders say talks have stalled over a key issue: protections over the use of AI. So we just talked about how Concord looks like an AI-made game, and honestly, if they came out and said it was an AI-made game, that would be better for them at this point, because at least they could say, this is why the game sucks, instead of just completely saying, we thought this game was good, and it turns out it just sucks. So basically, AI itself is the big talking point. As we've already discussed, AI just means that they're basically trying to cut out the human labor force and replace it with an AI labor force. An artificial labor force just means they don't have to pay people as much. All they have to pay is energy costs, which is cheaper than labor force. They want to cut out the human product from the gaming industry, just like they want to cut the human product out of the actor and film industry. So the film industry was able to get a victory last year as companies were dropping the AI stick. Now the gaming industry is trying to do it. We've seen massive layoffs from every single company now. We talked about Bungie, Bethesda, Sony, Microsoft, EA, Bethesda, and now Ubisoft has joined the fray. So like every single game company besides even Blizzard cut people. So really the only ones that haven't cut it are Riot Games, and that's pretty much it. So, I mean, the gaming industry is cutting back on labor and trying to use AI to fill in the pieces, and what we're getting is terrible games like Concord that look AI generated. So, union leaders say they aren't anti-AI altogether, but voice actors and other video game performers are worried about the unchecked use of AI can provide game makers with means to displace them. By training an AI to replicate an actor's voice or create a digital replica of their likeness without consent. So that's the big thing. An actor's voice is their selling point. That's how they make money. People spend years of their life trying to make their voice as personalized and as great as they like to portray as many characters as possible so they can get as many jobs as possible. But an AI can just replicate an actor's voice over time. And it sounds bad at first, but there's ways to replicate it. I mean, AI has been used, CGI has been used. AI and CGI together could make a movie literally on every dead actor that has ever existed. Like, imagine James Earl Jones, Robin Williams, and, I don't know, I'm blanking on his name. He's the guy from Lost. Mel Gibson. Imagine if, Mel Gibson would be terrible, but if he was in a movie and they weren't actually paying him, that'd be great. Liam Neeson, that's what I was thinking. So Liam Neeson, James Earl Jones, and Robin Williams made a movie together based on AI-generated voices. So yeah, that'd just be terrible. I mean, they're basically using actors' voices without their consent. They're not paying for voices. They're just saying hey, we want Jane the Rock Johnson and Keanu Reeves to make a movie with Jason Momoa and Ben Affleck. We're gonna make this really cool movie with all 4 of them, and we're not gonna pay any of them a dime because we're just gonna use their voices with an AI program. So they're basically just using their own CGI and AI together, replicates the voice, their likeness without their consent, and uses their voice without their consent, and they don't get paid a dime. So you basically have actors in a movie, but you don't have to pay the actors to be in the movie. So it's like you're not paying them to be in a movie that they're starring in. And if it makes big, then they're not getting paid big because they were in a movie that they weren't paid big because they weren't paid at all. I mean, it's just wrong. And it's happening in the game industry too. They're cutting labor, and they're basically saying to the public that we're cutting labor because we want to use AI to replicate our labor. So it's just wrong. And honestly, at this point, if you're not scared about the AI push in film or in the video game industry, just look at Concord. I don't care if Concord is made by someone else. I'm just saying it. Concord is definitely an AI production. And if it isn't, then the people just suck in general. But like, games like Concord are what's going to happen with AI, because AI does not do anything right. It just makes it efficient enough to sell as a game. The graphics will be good, but the art will be terrible, and the voice lines and everything will be awful. So the graphics may be good, but the quality will be awful. Terrible gaming experiences ahead with AI taking over game development. We've already seen how AI in films is already going awfully. Like, we've seen those early designs of films or comic books that have been generated by AI. They just pick a word and then just keep repeating it over and over again and trying to make it funny over time, not realizing that it got old really fast beforehand. So what I'm basically saying is that SAG-AFTRA has created a new contract in February to cover all indie and lower budget game projects, and they're adding low coverage for every single game industry. So not just the big boys and big girls, but also the indie and lower budget games. So SAG-AFTRA is fighting for everyone against AI. So, I mean, these video game industry giants that have been cutting labor forces and making our lives as consumers miserable, raising prices again, making quality and quantity worse over time. I mean, they're basically hurting us in four big different ways, making things more expensive, making subscriptions more expensive, making the quantity worse, and making the quality worse. So they're duping us and making our lives miserable, and now they're trying to make their actual labor force miserable by cutting them and replacing them with an AI program that will make AI games worse. If you think the quality is falling right now, wait until the quality is at rock bottom with AI. And the quantity, it may go up a little bit, but it's still going to be trash games that are made by AI. So I mean, like, the passion will be gone, everything will be gone. The only thing that's going to be there is just some cheap dialogue on a overall great graphics game that's going to suck to play, and it's going to be more expensive to play, and in-app purchases are going to be more expensive. So it's a lose for everyone involved. So I would say stand with the workers. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like if you like, dislike if you don't, subscribe if you like it. Comment down below your thoughts. Have a nice day, and toodaloo.